Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to PSGL Season 28. This is the F2 Tiers, Round 3 at the Red Bull Ring for the Austrian Grand Prix. My name is Jess, and joining me, as per usual, we've got Owen Wyatt. How you doing?
Hello, Jess. Hello, viewers. Welcome to Austria. Very much looking forward to this race. I reckon this will be the first proper chance to see where the order is, because we've had two crazy races so far. Still don't really know who's the fastest yet, so I can't wait to see how this all goes.
Yeah, if you missed last week's race, we were at the Singapore Grand Prix, the second race in a row, where the race win was actually decided by the stewards. Unfortunately, Antoine, our original race winner, actually had a pit lane infringement as seen by the race director. We didn't caught it on stream. They didn't have any footage. It was just the race director saying that he cut the pit lane exit. So he got a 5-second penalty. So we got dropped further down the grid. I can't remember where he finished in the end of it. I think it was second or third. But that means the guy that actually finished on hard tyres in a full wet track, La Macchina, actually won the race, which is still amazes me, to be honest, but that means La Macchina and Young Power are joint leaders in the championship with 16 points each, both with a win to their name. So yeah, we don't know who we think's going to be championship contenders because they're all so close.
Well, they've both got one win, and they've also both got a non-score in there, and then you've got three drivers behind. Obviously, one of them's gone, Joey, but the three drivers behind are all on 12 points as well, and it's just so close. Obviously, early stages of the season, but it just shows how varied it is. Antoine did finish second in the end, and again, that was his first points of the season too. Austria is a proper chance to see people's pace. Not a short track like Bahrain, where they don't race traditionally, and not Singapore, where it can rain randomly and give you a winner on full wet track on the hard, as we say. So it, should be a more streamlined race, and it should give us a better idea of who's at the front. But it does just mean everyone going into this race knows they've got a chance, because they're all a race win off the lead of the championship, so anything can happen. They could be right up there by the end of today.
Yeah, exactly. First used in Formula One back in the 1970s. It was originally back in the Austrian Grand Prix back in 2014 during the start of the hybrid era as well. It was renamed the Red Bull Ring in 2011. The other names that they had was the A1 Ring, the Authorised Ring, which was the first name it was as well. And Nico Rosberg won the first race, actually. And there was lots of other insane races then. Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen battle in 2019. And we also had two Austrian races in 2020, both won by Mercedes, one by Valtteri Bottas, one by Lewis Hamilton. So, yes, I mean, it's a good race to commentate on, and it's a good race to race on. A lot of drivers like this track, and I have a feeling it's going to be another close qualifying session. We've got some banker lap times at the moment. Everybody is on the softs, though, so that may strongly suggest that they want to stay on the softs in the race, or there may be another thing coming which the drivers don't know about, but I'm expecting lap times tonight to be around about the 102.3s, potentially that, maybe 102.1s. That was the pole time, 102.3s in F2 last season, but it was the first race of F1 2020, so times changed since then, people improved in this game, so I expect it to be a lot quicker than season 26 when we first came here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the evolution for all the drivers in this league, it's insane to see how far they've come. So certainly I'd expect them to be much quicker, because we've seen it a few times in this league in previous games where one season an F2 tier has suddenly become an F4 tier. There's just so many people developing. So yeah, I do agree. It should be much quicker. And yeah, looking forward to see how they all do. And obviously, since it is such a short lap, it should be pretty close as well. So yeah, we're very used to very close gaps in this league. I'm sure Connor will love to see the gaps in this one, because it gives him all that sort of, look at me, I'm good at deciding the series. He loves this when this happens. So yeah. Already, 2 tenths separating the top 8. So it's a pretty close start to qualifying. Only a 1 minute 2.4, but that's just bank collapse. I expect they'll all qualify on the softs, because it should be a soft to medium or soft to hard race. It should be pretty simple. And yeah, any rain will be dealt with. But yeah, definitely you've got to qualify on softs, especially with the gap so close. You'll be outside that top 10 if you aren't on the softs.
Yeah, definitely. I think soft to medium will probably be the best strategy, I think, as well. Because I think soft to hards, the hards you probably won't touch unless you get damaged. So the hards are a nightmare to drive around. I've experienced it a lot on this game. So I could only expect if we have a safety car, if they want to get it to the end, maybe they can pit early on for the hards too, as Young Power goes fastest with a 102.4. Nobody's on a lap at the moment, so it gives me a chance to go on the talk about the standings actually. So Young Power and Lamborghini are leading the way with 16 points, and we got Luca in third, who's got his first podium last week of the season, third place. Joint closely followed by Antoine, who also got 12 points as well. So the top four are almost joint on points, close to each other. Then we got Eltink in fifth place on 11, Greeny in sixth on 10, and we got Benny on 8, joint with Hadler. Then we get Ascom on ninth place, Lars in 10th, Banner 11th, M Shaw in 12th, Suka in 13th, CC Brain 14th, Fabi 15th, Gil 5th, 16th, Petrock 17th, Roll Rally in 18th, Cedric in 19th, and Toxic is in 20th. Now, bear in mind, Cedric is not racing in this league for the time being due to some issues, he's technical issues. So replacing him full-time for the time being is Igoro, who raced last week in the McLaren, who is in the Ferrari this week. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. Last time we saw a reserve become full-time, he actually got a podium, which is Antoine. So maybe this could be the race for him, Igoro, in the Ferrari. He's 60th at the moment, does not set a lap, but it'll be interesting to see how well he does.
Yeah, indeed. We'll see how he gets on. I think Cedric's actually watching this race. He's actually in the lobby, but he's just got some problems, so he's had to join us in a spectator role. So he'll be able to size up his competition still. But yeah, for the rest of them, 19 out there. Yeah, we'll see how Ignoru does in his Ferrari. But yeah, I think we're going to get a few more laps starting now. World Rally was the first to set a lap time, but it was 5 seconds off the pace. So he'll be hoping to get up there and get himself well up onto the board. He's currently bottom of the championship of the full-time drivers, so plenty of scope to improve as he heads through the middle sector. He's got a Sebastian Vettel style helmet there, look.
Love it.
Quite any of the pink. A lot of people don't like the pink on it, so he's gone with the traditional German colours as he comes around that final colour in his AlphaTauri up to P6.
Not a bad lap from him as well. About pretty much 13 drivers in the 102s at the moment, but I think we could see more people in the 102s potentially soon. Last week's race winner still hasn't set a lap yet. He's going through turn 4. He's got a yellow flag of loads of traffic in the way, so let's hope for his sake the traffic moves out the way. The traffic's going to be an important factor around this race in terms of setting your laps in, because if you don't get out in plenty of time, you're going to get a situation where you're probably going to run out of time and not being able to set a representative lap time. So he's past turn 6, heading in towards turn 7. It has 10 corners around this track, and we've got to watch out for the infamous turn 9 and 10, where we've seen quite a few invalidations in the past. Corner cutting is very, very strict on this game. As he comes across the line, is it pole? No, it's not. It's P6 for him. Anyone else on a lap? There's a few people about to cross the final corner with a few people invalidated their laps. Toxic Tomato, who just missed out on the win in the first round of season 26. He would have won on track, but due to penalties, it put him down to P2, and Rafa won it in F2 last season. So I'm expecting him to do well, but he won the race on track with line, whereas this season, obviously, it's no line, no assist at all, and he's invalidated, so there's no point me following him. KJ's also on the lap as well. Everyone's getting in their early laps as quickly as they possibly can. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. I don't know who to call for pole position, but Jan Power looks like he's a favourite. He's very...
I'll tell you what, though.
Lars on pole.
Look at Luca. His middle sector's flying along this. Oh, he's invalidated. But I want to see what lap this would be anyway, because this might give us an indication of where they'll be looking at the end of qualifying. He has lost time in the end, so that invalidation's messed him up, but he was a good 10th.5 purple in the middle sector, would have put him up to the top. So there are some trying to improve out there, but others are struggling. Still think there's a couple of attempts in this track. Obviously the track evolution will help as well. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't know who to call for this.
Yeah, it was like at the first bit of season 26, I was like, what? And we had 20 drivers and everyone was separated by 6/10 of a second, and all it came down to was penalties in the end, and the race to decide who was the winner. And penalties are definitely going to be a massive factor as everyone is going into the pits or either setting on their outlap as well. 4 drivers yet to score points this season as a full-time driver. Jan Power comes across the line. Pole once again. He doesn't want Lars to get pole, does he?
Well, he's obviously looking to extend that championship lead. He's looking good pace. He was nowhere, was he, last week, unfortunately, in Singapore. So he's certainly making a statement nice and early. Looks like it's getting a bit dull out there, the conditions, so I wonder what that's going to do to the track temperature, see if it gets better conditions at the end of the qualifying session. But the sun's certainly seeming to dip under the clouds a bit. As we get a lot heading back into the pits now. A lot of them doesn't appear to be any actually on laps, apart from CC Brain and Petrus, who have just started the laps. And look at that, 0.5 of a second separating that whole field at a minute. We'll see where CC Brain and Petrus end up in that pack.
I thought Bahrain Short was going to be quite very, very close, which it did. Now Austria's very, very close. It's one of the shortest laps on the actual calendar without Bahrain Short into it. Another one taken into consideration, obviously, is Monaco, which we're not going to this season. We were there last season as well. CC Brain was looking a bit more confident last week. He managed to score some points for Renault after Greeny not scoring any points. He's on 3 points at the moment. Looking good on this track in the past, so I want to see what he does in the middle sector. 3,000 quicker than his previous best, so it shows that it's getting better. He's got some yellow flags though as he heads past turn 8 and heading towards turn 9. People got to watch out for the pit entry here today, because I think we've seen a few corner cuts in the past as CC Brain has unfortunately invalidated his lap time once again. But he's still 7% of the lap time. Everyone sets some laps right now. And we've got Mr. Caden Fours racing today. He was meant to be racing last week, but unfortunately his PS4 had issues, but somehow he's fixed them, and he's racing again, and he's hit the wall.
Into the wall.
Oh, commentator's curse there. And he's reset to track as well. 2 things that you should not do.
Yes, that's not really a good start to his day. Sitting at the back with his teammate Ascom as well. Both Mercedes struggling at the minute. And as you say, crashing, resetting to track as well. Committing all the cardinal sins. But just saying, Petrus, by the way, he had gone P3 after CC Brain's lap, and he has, yeah, it's so close up there. It really is. I still don't know what to predict. Like I say, with the weather conditions, it is getting duller and duller. I hope it doesn't rain and ruin the end of the session, but it does look, it's definitely not a nice sunny day anymore, is it?
Nope, it's not. In the actual race, the track conditions are actually set to midday as well, because if it's not on midday and it's unofficial, when you get on the run to turn 1, it's very, very blind. So, but luckily it's overcast anyway, so they're not going to get us blinded. So maybe that's why people are going out again on their final laps, because they probably know that the conditions may get worse, but we shall see. I think the conditions were like this, similar to the end of the race last time, but then it got it didn't rain pretty much, but we'll see anyway. But Lars is still on the lap once again, so I think that does suggest that there's going to be some rain. I thought I saw some rain on the right hand side, but it was just my TV playing ball with me, which was a bit of a shame. But anyway, Lars, he got unlucky with his 10-second penalties added from the race due to his penalties he got in Bahrain Shore. Unfortunately, he's invalidated again, which was a shame, because he was purple.
Luca again.
Luca
Luca's also purple. He's just ahead around that last corner. Sorry to interrupt there, but this could go P1. Nah, not quite. He always loses it in the final sector, doesn't he? Interesting to see. Maybe that's a setup thing. Could be using the race up, but yeah. Seems that he's got a good middle sector, but just can't get the rest of the lap done. But yeah, a lot of people doing their laps now. We would expect them a couple of minutes later than this, wouldn't we? Maybe they're going to try and squeeze a fourth run in, maybe, since it is such a short track. But yeah, I'm not going to complain. More laps out there to talk about.
Exactly, and I think they would have gone for the softer option, because the balance, you only get 3 softs, 1 medium, but in the softer you get 4 softs. So, but that means you got to be very careful in the race. That doesn't leave you with much mediums and hards to play with if you get damage in lap 1, for example. But we'll see, as I'm trying to find someone to actually go on board with a lap, because this may be the final laps that we get. So I'm trying to see.
Toxic Tomatoes on one.
Yeah, Toxic's on one. Yeah, I was just going to try and find someone who was about to start one so we can take you on the ball lap. But let's go on board with Toxic anyway, as he goes past turn 7. You view that yellow flags again, so I think it's just people moving out of the way, going into the pit lane. Invalidation, which was unfortunate. But let's follow CC Brain. Let's hope he does not invalidate his laps. He goes through turn 1 past the Lauda curve, both right angle bends, as you can see. Turn 2, well, you don't really call it turn 2, it's a little kink really of Resmus. A better overtaking opportunity here. You're going to go to the top of the hill here, heading towards turn 3. Brake just before the 100 metre board. DRS ride, open air. You're going to get a bit of a tow, CC Brain, from the car in front. You're not allowed slipstream from your teammate, but the tow in front of Antoine's really going to help him. on his lap, heading towards turn 4. This is where Hamilton and Albon collided last season in real life, unfortunately, where Hamilton got a penalty which demoted him quite a bit in the race and promoted Norris to actually get his first podium of the season. And hopefully he'll get more in the future. But here comes CC Brain heading towards turn 7, down the Fanatec bridge here. Use all the traction as you possibly can. Right apex he goes. He manages the final few apexes all right. Heading towards the final corner. What is it going to be for CC Brain? 102.4. Really good lap, actually. 2 tenths quicker than his previous best. And I actually followed someone on a lap this time without someone binning it. So that's an achievement. And it's raining. So, yeah, unfortunately, I think that's going to be the end of qualifying if this continues.
I would suggest that, yeah. And like you said, CC Brain, he got slipstream from not 1, but 2 cars on that lap. He got so lucky with that. He had the troop coming out of the pits, and then obviously he had Antoine on an in-lap, and he was able to get both of them slipstream on separate straights. But yeah, we'd suspected rain. I don't think anyone's going to get any improvement out there. They'll try. I'm sure one of them will give it a go, but I just can't see any improvement. Once it starts to spit rain, you'll lose that tenth or two, and that's what you need in this session. So I would suggest that is the end of the qualifying session, and I would mean then that Jan Parr sits on pole position at the minute. But let's just wait and see, because Patrus had started a lap, and he's invalidated it anyway.
He's struggling
and he was down in
anyway.
the middle sector, so he started just as the rain started to fall. So I don't think there's anyone any later than him on a lap. Luca, he's invalidated as well. World Rally out there, Lamakina out there. But I don't see any improvements from anybody at the minute. Luca is invalid, but he was going up in his first sector, so I don't know. They might find small improvements. Lamakina just down in the middle sector. World Rally coming up to the last 2 corners. I can't imagine there'll be much grip through here, but he's going to give it his best anyway. Here he comes, and he's off the track. And it's going to be through the DRS board as well. And that's obviously not going to be a counted lap. And Lamakina's done the same thing, except it's been more of a sort of spin there, which he's been able to save, but obviously that's not going to improve his lap time by any stretch of the imagination. Balner only a tenth down on that attempt, actually, so I don't know. If you get it all together, perhaps you can find some improvement here.
Ballina did get pole last week in Singapore, but unfortunately he had a very unlucky race, I have to say, from the Haas driver. But maybe this could be the race where he shines a little bit as well. He always gets unlucky with races recently, I've seen in other, not just PSGL, but in other leagues too. But when he actually gets it together in the qualifying and race, he's a very quick driver. So I wonder if he's going to improve in that middle sector. He is slowing down a bit in that turn 4, so he's on 0. So no, that's the answer to our question. Hadler's on his outlap. I don't know why he's going out, but I'm guessing he wants to get a feel for the track, because it may be conditions like this in the race, so he's probably getting used to the crossover point. But he comes into the pits now. He's decided that enough's enough, and I think Banner's going to do the same. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Sorry about that, guys.
And we've got 2 more out there. We have got Toxic Tomato, and we have got Fenny. Middle sector for Fenny is 8 seconds down. Toxic Tomato is still pushing though. He was 6 thousandths off on his first sector. What about his middle sector? Will we see an improvement in the rain? No, he's 8 tenths down in the middle sector. So even when you're giving it your all, it's just 2. And he's invalidated it anyway. And that means then the championship leader, Jan Parr, is on pole here in Austria, with Lars second and Gil up there in 3rd.
Yeah, nice to see Gil up there, back in 3rd. I believe he's on the wheel anyway, so it's nice to see him back on form. Lars as well, who got 2nd place before he had the penalties last week. Great to see. Jan Parr obviously won the first race. Maybe he likes these sort of short tracks, because the lap is pretty much high speed around there, so I could expect him to get the win today. But I'm not going to make any more predictions, because I'm worried I'm going to jinx him. So we're just waiting for Ascom to retire, which he does. So that was the end of the session then. So everyone is very, very close. Everyone, I believe, is in the 102s. So we'll look at the standings then. So we've got the top 14 separated by 3 temps. So we got Jan Power, then Lars, then Gil in 3rd. Hadler, then we got in 4th. Petrox in 5th. Ballina, then Luca, Eltink, CC Brain, then Fabi round up your top 10. If it's a dry race, they're the ones who have to start on the softs. The ones who got free tyre choice, whatever happens, is Suku, Toxic Tomato, Lamarckina, World Rally, Igoro, Antoine, Fenny, who's our new reserve driver for F2, is joining us for this race. Caden Forbes and Ascom. 6 tenths of a second separate the whole field. Insane that, but well done to all the drivers. Let's see what the race unfolds.
Well, this is it. Qualifying. Bit of a disappointing ending. Maybe some drivers think they've got more pace than they were able to show, so it'll be interesting to see what we do in the race. Plenty of overtaking opportunities, and it is raining. Oh, dear. Well, I was about to say 3 DRS zones, but unless this dries up, we're not going to be seeing any of them, and so we're going to see quite the interesting race, and again, possibly not going to be representative of their real pace, and in such a short season, that will affect them because they won't be able to size up their opponents properly. They're all having to deal with adverse conditions, different track layers they'll never have done before. Really is shaking this season up, and yeah, another one where we're going to get unexpected circumstances.
And unexpected strategies as well. I remember seeing in season 26 where the first few races of the season, well, pretty much the first 6 races of the season, it had rain affected qualifying and or the race, sometimes both as well. So we're getting something similar here, apart from Bahrain Short, because Bahrain Short, it didn't rain, because it doesn't rain in Bahrain on the game. So that's the only exception. But the tracks where it can rain, it's rained. So I wouldn't want to be the drivers right now. And I think it looks like I'll get the screen up for you so you can actually see the rain, but it's looking like it's intermediate conditions right now, unless the game decides to put it on the dry tyres, which hopefully does not happen. So we'll get the tyres up anyway. We don't have time to talk about, well, we can't talk about the strategy because it's all going to be intermediate tyres. It looks quite dull at the moment, which is a shame. So hopefully the conditions don't get any worse. And yeah, everyone's on the intermediate tyres. So yeah, that's why they all went on the softs early on in the qualifying. That explains it now. I got my prediction sort of right.
Yes. Oh, and Caden's binned it already.
Ugh, Caden.
That's gone well, hasn't it? He's taken out one of the brake marker boards. That will... I don't think that's one that they'll be using to brake with anyway. They'll be looking at the 150-metre boards rather than the 100... Well, they'll be looking at the 100-metre board and the 50-metre board. I can't tell. They won't need the 150-metre board. That's when it's knocked on. So they won't get too angry at him for that one. But hopefully we don't see anyone spinning off the line on the official start, because that might cause a bit of carnage, and we don't really want to see that. So, big questions we've got to ask then. How are these guys going to handle the conditions? What are the setups like? Is the rain going to stay intermediate? Are we going to go back to dries? Are we going to end up in full wets? Just what is going to happen here? 10 races only. And the first three, like I say, not going to be going the way these drivers would have expected them to go. And like I say, it just nicely shakes up the order. Will we get 3 different winners in the first 3 races? Well, technically a 5th different winner. We've had 4 different winners in 2 races because of penalties. Some which I've never seen before. But yeah, will they keep the track? Really? We'll find out. But must be said, Young Power, Lars and Gill, they've sort of broken ahead of Hadler, who's wanted to sort of hang back a bit there. Those front 3 reaching the grid nice and early, and Ascom right at the back for Mercedes, just sort of hanging back. But once they all get there, we'll have a wet start to this race, and well, anything can happen.
Yeah, we could see exactly the opposite to what we've seen in season 26, where it was a dry start to the race and it ended in these type of conditions. So if that happens, then it could be anyone's game. But I'll hand it to you for the start. Let's get this race underway.
Yes, here we go then. Mercedes are lining up at the back of the grid. Strategy is appearing on my screen, a bit pointless. Enter to enter to enter. We'll see what happens when we get to the end of the race. But for now, the 5 lights are on. Young Powers and pole from Lars. And it's lights out in Austria. Looks like an alright launch for them. They're going to get up to turn 1. Hopefully they won't go side by side, because that might cause a bit of chaos at the front. Young Power leads the race from Lars. Look at the dive bomb there from the racing point of KJ Eltink. A few cars going wide, but I reckon KJ might be able to make a few positions here. But he's being shoved onto the grass, and lots of contact in the middle of that pack as well. Could so easily cause an accident, but hopefully they'll all make it through. Looks like they are indeed. And again, KJ looking up the inside. He's hit his own teammate and nearly sent him spinning round. But no damage. He's up to P4. But the front 2 are breaking away already. Good start from them too.
Yes, we've got 2 different constructors in the top 2, and we've got the racing points working together. They're still going side by side, heading towards turn 4, with I think Gil on the right and KJ on the left there. Oh no, KJ on the right, Gil on the left. It was the left and right on our screen that we can see, but we're still going side by side. KJ trying to go for the move into turn 6. Can he hold his line? He's got to. He's got to be committed there. Heading towards turn 7, and he does get the move done. Nicely controlled from Eltink there. up into 3rd place. Meanwhile, Fabi gets past Luca into turn 7. He's up into 8th. Luca's down into 9th place. Antoine, I think, has gained from Igora. Antoine up into 14th place. Caden Forbes still in the back of this train. Everyone's still in the back of this train as well. Ascom seems to be struggling side by side with Igoro there as well. He's been swamped by all these cars. So it's going to be tight for the back people to get past anyone. But yeah, all I can see is the top 2. They're just running away with it right now. And unfortunately, we've got the timing glitch again, which is not what we want. But all we know is Jan Power is leading this race still by not that much, actually, from Lars. So could Lars get the win that he was dreaming for this season? We'll have to wait and see. Let's see if Lars is a little bit further, closer away to actually get the move from Jan Power, which he does not. And we got Petchok's not far behind Gil either. Gil seems to be struggling on these wet conditions at the moment. This could be where him being on the wheel, he's not as used to the wet conditions compared to everybody else, but we shall see what happens with the rest of the field. Everyone, nobody is pitted actually on that one. That is an achievement in itself. Well done, everybody. But saying that, someone will probably go into the pits now, so I won't say anything more.
Gotta say, KJ is so confident right now. Obviously, he made all those moves at the start. He's now closing in on the front 2. He's already made 5 places in that first lap alone. And he does look, he has the feel on the brake pedal, which is so crucial when there's no DRS. It's all going to be about that braking zone when you want to go for the move. And he is cruising up to the front 2 now. Well within a second, obviously no DRS. He's going to have to do this on pure skill alone. And by the looks of it, he's got plenty of that and confidence too. So we'll see what he can do about those front 2. Biggest mover, unsurprisingly, in the field, like I say, with 5 places. So already a very strong race from him, but it is so early on. We've got Suko side by side with CC Brain as they're both trying to get by Toxic Tomato. And we'll see them run down towards turn 4. And Suko is ahead of Renault. Don't really expect him to be diving up the inside of him at any point soon, so they'll hold position. But yeah, I wonder what their strategies are going to be at the start of this. Obviously, they know what the weather's going to do. We don't. They could be looking to try and stretch these tires out to go to dries. Maybe they'll just be going into the inter, simple as that. Or maybe they're expecting heavy rain. We just don't know what the strategies are. We're just going to wait and see.
Yeah, unpredictable strategies in PSGL F2 tonight. Now, if they were to do these conditions for the whole race, the intermediates last pretty much a similar time to the medium, so they would probably pit around about lap 20-21 for another set of inters. But if they do get an overheated tyres, they may have to pit a lot earlier as well, maybe make it a 2-stop, but we will see. But lap 20, I think, is where we'll start to see people come into the pits if the change of conditions, it doesn't change. But if it does change and if they stay out longer, then that may be an indication that it could get a lot better in terms of conditions, maybe dry or maybe heavy rain potentially as well. They may want to stay until it gets better or worse, as Lars is really closing up on Jan Power now. He's actually going to get the slipstream from him, heading towards turn 4 down the hill. Jan Power closes the door on him. He's going to try and get the switchback, does Lars, but he has to stay behind. So Lars, unfortunately, can't get the breakthrough that he wanted, stays in P2. KJ's going to be all over this soon if Lars doesn't get a move on.
Yeah, I think to be fair, Lars is pretty happy to hold position. Those front 2 barely using their ERS at all to really fight each other. I think if Lars wanted to do that, he could have done. I am wondering why he hasn't though. If he feels he can pull away, I would go for the move, because it's not like he'd be worried about a DRS train. The whole field's, within what would be a DRS range anyway. It's not like it's going to matter. And you're not going to be swamped by anyone, so if you want to go for the move, but, in the wet conditions, give it a go, but he decided not to. And yeah, they're all just holding position, all just waiting for something to happen, and well, someone's gonna have to start it all off. I just wonder who that's gonna be.
It's like Bahrain Short in the first race. We just waited to see who was gonna blink, and when someone actually blinked, then we saw a lot of people making moves as well. Nobody making any dangerous mistakes right now, which is great to see. So it shows they want to get some racing, but the more that they're stuck in this train, the less overtakes we're going to get. So hopefully we'll see someone brave dive around the inside, potentially, maybe into turn 4. I think that's why we're probably going to see the most overtakes today. Probably the closest is between Luca and Fabi, but they're probably not making any rows right now as well. We've got Ascom still on the back of Antoine, looking very dangerously close. The visibility has got a lot worse heading through turn 4. It may just be my eyes, or it may just be that they're struggling out there just to get close to each other. We don't know. The Ferraris are not looking too good at the moment, P16 and P17. Remember what happened at the Styrian Grand Prix where both Ferraris collided and they were out of the race. So we don't want to happen to them today, of course. Last week's race winner, he's not having a good race either. He's down in 18th position.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be 1 win and 2 non-scores for Lamborghini. It's just the way it goes sometimes. But look at that, 2 Ferraris now side by side, and Lamborghini wants to get down the inside of both of them. This is 3 wide into turn 1. At the back of the grid, and well, the inevitable contact has happened. That's going to put Caden right into this one. These guys all obviously fighting over the lower positions in the race, but it's good to see some fighting regardless. As the front 2 get close as well, Jumpar is in Narnia. He must have had a wee spin. Perhaps.
Oh, he has.
In fact, he has, hasn't he? He has. He's been in the wall.
Middle of turn 3, I think it was. Has he got damage?
Oh, he's destroyed his front wing, and he's got a Red Bull of Suko right on his inside. So it looks to me like either he's been nerfed around by accident, or has just lost it on the exit of turn 3. Obviously, high traction dependent zone, and yeah, it's gone wrong because a weird one. I'll see if there's any contact noted on the incidents, because I'm sure if the top 2 collided, it would tell us. And
yes.
I'm seeing nothing on that, so it looks like
he's spun on his own.
Possibly he's gone on his own there, which is why, because I would have seen if they were trying to pass each other, but yeah. Well, Lars isn't going to mind too much. He's now leading the race. Just check his front wing. Let's see.
Let's see. Close.
And now he's got nothing. There's no marks on his car, so I don't think he's had any contact. It does seem to have been just Jumpar losing it. And well, now the winners of the first 2 races are in the bottom 2 positions in this race. So it would take quite a lot for us to get a repeat winner today at this rate.
That's what I like in F2. Things change all the time and we get 3 different winners hopefully tonight, and probably I haven't jinxed it, but yeah, it's going to take a miracle for the likes of the 2 race winners this season to actually win a race at the moment. So unfortunately they're going to hope for a late safety car or an early safety car to get back in this race. Ascon gets past Antoine into turn 4 into 13th place. Quite an easy overtake for Ascom. Antoine didn't look like he was challenging there, and since everyone's on the same tyres as well, none of them have advantage in terms of tyres, apart from if they're either pushing too much or too little. If they're saving their tyres and waiting until the best time to pit, that's where it's going to be game on. No penalties either, which is still baffles me right now, because I thought a lot of people would have got more penalties. I did see someone in front of KJ there get I think probably got a warning where he slid into turn 9, but I think Lars will probably get a penalty anytime soon, which we hope does not happen. As, yeah, KJ, he's on the move at the moment, 6th behind Lars. I think KJ could be the favourite to get the race win. He got the race win outright, actually, in Bahrain short, but it got taken away from him due to the penalties he got from going off track with Young Power. So could this be the day where he actually gets the race win outright? We will see. As 5 tenths now is the gap between KJ and Lars. I don't think he's going to get the move this lap. Maybe next lap. Lars are struggling a little bit there for traction, but wow. Antoine in the pits as well, so he's having a mare right now. And he's on another set of inters.
Yeah, Lars really is looking like he's under pressure now from KJ. Like we said, straight from the start, he showed he's got some good pace and good overtaking abilities, but exceeding the track limits in turn 7. Just got to make sure he keeps his composure, because he knows what happened last time. He went for the race when it all sort of went wrong, when the fight took off track. So, again, early in the race, don't want to make any mistakes like it appears Jumpar did. I don't want to confirm anything. For all we know, maybe it was the smallest of little taps and the game might just not have noticed it. But for now, it doesn't really matter because he's at the back of the track. But either way, KJ will have seen that, and he knows that it's early in the race. Don't put yourself under too much pressure to have that. Just make sure you're clear of your teammate, really, at this stage. And he is indeed, so he can just focus on himself at the minute. But it does feel like it's his to lose almost already. He's just got so much pace. I hope I don't jinx him then, but I am bigging him up quite a lot.
Yeah, I think that the first race we actually saw the pace from him. We saw the pace around Russia as well, where he got his first points as a reserve driver as well. And it obviously didn't count because he was a reserve all season. I believe he was full-time towards the end of last season. Meanwhile, Fenny and Lamborghini are fighting for the pretty much not being towards the back of the grid. Caden Forbes is up into 15th place after not being in too much trouble with this race. They're fighting a pretty good job. Could he get points in this race? We'll see. He hasn't had any bad luck, but saying that, I probably jinxed him too, so I'm going to stay right there with that one, because I'll have a few Caden fans. I'll probably be worried about me, but we'll see.
Sure.
We're starting heading into lap 10 now of this race. Lars leads, and Fenny gets the first free second time penalty of the day. Not the position to be in where you got the first driver to get a penalty, so as long as he doesn't get any more penalties, he should be fine, but that may trigger more people to potentially get some penalties as well. We've got a yellow flag and the first retirement. Safety car.
Wow, he must have done that on the last corner then, because he had just passed Lamarquina, who'd pitted. And well, he's in the pits himself, the only driver in the pits, Lamarquina. New front wings, so lucky for him, he's got a safety car just to nullify the loss. He only loses one or two positions anyway, but yeah.
He binned it on the left.
Yeah.
He binned it on the left.
Might have just got on the curb then and swapped ends. But yeah, that sort of breaks up that fight. We had to cut away from the fights at the bottom of the pack. It was getting quite good before the umpire spun, but obviously that's all broken up now. And as pitted again, I wonder if this is going to the end of the race, these tyres. Obviously intermediate still. Rain still as consistent as it was at the start. Pretty much intermediate condition. All the umpire's doing. But let's see what the leaders do. Gill is pitting. He's the only one in that top three to pit. Truce will follow him, as will Hadler. Ballner stays out. Fabi pits. Luke pits. Toxic Tomato pits. Suku stays out. CC Brain is in. What about World Rally? Looks like he's going to pit too. He might have to stack with his teammates, so a few of them might have to worry about that, as Ascom nearly sticks it into the wall in the pit lane entry. Igoro is in as well. Caden is in too, so that is going to be quite the hectic pit lane.
I assume the ones that just pitted, they will definitely need to stop one more, because otherwise there's no way they're going to make those inters last until the end, unless the conditions get better. So, you know, maybe they're seeing things that we're not. Meanwhile, Lars, KJ, Banner and Suku, they're going to lose a lot of time compared to everybody else, because these guys who pitted before them, they lost less time in the pits, because the pit lane lost in normal conditions 17 seconds, in safety car probably not 3 or 4 seconds out of that, maybe even more than that. So I literally don't know who's going to win this one. It may come down to who manages their tyres the best as well, but it's going to take a while for the likes of Jan Power and Antoine to come back into this. Jan Power must be breathing a sigh of relief right now, because he's back in this race. So is Antoine as well, Lamarquina as well. If they could just keep penalty free, they may be back in this and still get some points. So we shall see, of course, but I wonder if Lars was hoping for the safety car. Probably, maybe not, because he knows he's got KJ absolutely prancing at him now after the safety car restart, so
I can only assume that these guys are stayed out because they're expecting a change in condition at some point, because it does sort of feel like they're giving the race away. And maybe the guys pitting are thinking, okay, there is going to be a weather change coming, but I want to make sure I've got the tyres for when it happens, and so that I don't fall off the cliff. Because I just can't I don't understand this top four not pitting. Because obviously, as we've already pointed out, they'll fall right to the back. Antoine's in as well. But yeah, whatever they do, when they pit now, they'll fall to the back. So they must be assuming that either they can perform miracles and get these inters all the way to the end of the race. I don't think you can. It's not against the rules, isn't it? It's not against the rules to try, but you won't make it, most likely.
It can only make 20 laps, 21 laps on the inters, so there's no way you can get to the end.
They must be expecting weather change. They have to be.
So it's either going to get much better or much worse. And I can't tell at this point if it's going to be either or. I have a feeling it's going to stay exactly as it is. So I think that these four, have made the wrong decision. But we're not the drivers. They are. But some of them have Jeffs, people in the party talking to them, saying, oh, you should do this, you should do that. Some of them don't. I know Banner, I think, has someone in the party with him as well, helping him. So there may be a method to their madness too. I'm still clueless at this point why they haven't pit. But the ones who have pit, they're a huge advantage at the moment. But they have to pit at least one more time. There's no way they can make it one stop. The full wet, you can make it, I believe you can make it almost to the end. You can do a 0 stop on full wets, but it's going to be tough to do it. But I literally don't know what's going to happen at this point. Let's hope not many people cut the pit lane entry. We haven't seen many people do that. So I think we're all right so far.
just want to say with the guys that have stopped, I think they can get to the end. I think they'll be able to nurse them if they need to. There's no way they'd make another stop with a couple laps to go. Unless, of course, like we say, the weather's going to change and they're just making sure they've got tyres to get them there. Either way, I'm hoping that whatever the strategies are here, it might encourage a bit of fighting at the front, because obviously Gil might be sitting there thinking, all four of these guys in front of me haven't pitted. You know, maybe he'll sit there and think, aha, I've got this race winner. Maybe he'll think, I could just get to the front here. I don't know. I just hope whatever this is, it'll encourage some fighting. But yeah, I just don't know what to predict. I really cannot tell you what's going to happen here. But I can tell you that the whole field have now caught up with the train, and we should be expecting that safety car in soon. So we shall start to get answers in the hopefully not too distant future of who's going to win this race, as Fenny decides he's not going to watch the restart. And the safety car that he caused, unfortunately, with his accident in the final corner, was the only driver to have a penalty at that point. Had just picked one up. Maybe we're starting to exploit the track limits a bit too much, and it's caught him out. We'll see how the rest handle it. But right now, it is Lars who leads the race from KJ, Ballner, and Suko. No pit stops made for either of those four, so it's going to be quite the interesting second part of this race. We only have done a third so far, and just wait for that safety car to come in. It's heading through turn 9 now, and it's entering the pit lane now. And any moment now, Lars will put his foot down and get this race back underway. What moment is he going to pick? And he'll probably just wait until the final corner just to avoid any accidents. And away he goes to restart the race. No real chance to be overtaken there, and indeed he isn't. Alright, Gil then, on his new tyres. He will have more grip, so we'll see what he decides to do. He just backs off into turn 1, but surely he's got to start making some moves now already. Look at the exit. What a fantastic exit it was. Got on the ERS maybe a little bit too early, sort of lost the rear end a tad. Bit slower in the straight line as well, but can he get the move done around the outside of turn 3? Gil trying to move up to 4th place. Bit of a slide on the exit, really big slide actually. I wonder if anyone else will be able to get involved in that, but Gil doing his best to get by, and he is now ahead, but we'll see. Like I say, into the braking zone of turn 4 now, who's got the upper hand, because it is Suku on the inside, and a big lock-up for Gil, but he still gets the undercut done, and he's finally up to P4.
I think it shows that him pitting has definitely benefited as well. His next victim is, well, next target is Balliner as well. We got Hadler and Petros going side by side heading towards turn 6. That was a bit squirmy for them too as well. We saw a few drivers actually going side by side in turn 6 on the first lap as well. So it looks like after the safety car restart, they're definitely giving it full beans at the moment. But Petros is saying, nope, I'm having none of that. He stays P6, the Red Bull 5-6 at the moment. So great to see from them. Not looking good for the Williams boys right now. Only one driver in the top 10, which is Hadler. Looking good for the Racing Point drivers though. P2 and P4. Meanwhile, the two Red Bulls are fighting for P5 once again. There's no team orders there. I believe Christian Horner's letting them race. So
I think actually, to be fair, Suku might well have actually let him go there. He seemed to pull over on the straight and give Petrus the race in line into
like
turn 1.
Yeah.
So maybe they, you know, obviously they know exactly what they're doing with their strategies, and obviously they'll be potentially communicating, as Toxic Tomato and Fabulous have said. It's fascinating to see what's going to happen here, because it's just impossible to predict. I really cannot tell you what's going to happen here, as Toxic Tomato does finish that move off. And well, they'll all be on the back of Suki now, see what they can do by him. But Gil is now trying to get by Ballner and restore his podium position.
Yeah, which I think if he gets the podium, he's definitely earned it, to be fair. He's had some bad luck in the last few races. The first race in particular where he got a DNF this season. Surely this is going to be the race where he absolutely shines. Well, I think he would have been lucky in Bahrain. Sure, I think he would have got a few points in there if he didn't I think it was desync issues that he had in the first race. So here comes Gil into turn 1. I don't think many people would get the move into turn 1 done, but Gil does not. Gil's going to get a good run into turn 2 by the looks of things. So let's see how he approaches this corner. I think the fresh tyres is definitely going to help him. Down at the left-hand side he goes. A little bit of a lob tap from both of these drivers. And I think Gil's going to get the edge on Balliner then. And, yep, he attempts that very well. Keeps his line. But I think Balliner's probably going to try once again. He doesn't care that Gil's on front tyres. Petrus is also in this as well. Side by side with fight for, I would say, P6 at the moment. Suku is definitely struggling on those old inters where everyone else behind him is on fresh inters as well. So if I was Suku, I would pit, because otherwise you're going to lose so much time. You're probably going to end up going into the pit lane. So I think Suku's probably going to be having a little bit of a think for himself, but he probably sees that Petru's, who's also on fresher tyre, who's absolutely flying right now. So, but it's probably too early for him to pit anyway if he was thinking about it. But he's already lost out anyway, like Lars and KJ. But KJ's still doing well to hold on to second place. So let's see how Gil catches up in the next lap, see if he can get past him.
Yeah, Petrus there was very nearly up the inside of both Balner and Gil. He had such a good run. Just backed it out at the last second on Gil. But yeah, I think those two, his leading pack, does feel that they'll be able to do that in the next couple of laps. And obviously Gil is catching his own teammate. Possibly some communication going on there. I'm sure they're not going to take each other out or mess about too much. As long as one of them gets ahead of Lars, I'm sure they won't really mind too much. Because it's a really strong result in the making for them at the moment. But look at KJ moving over, letting his teammate through. Or has he got a puncture? He's got a puncture.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what he's done.
has.
So 17 laps is all they last, and that's safety car laps as well involved. Hopefully nobody runs into him, and indeed they have. That could be a safety car, because that's, well, quite lucky actually that, well, it's a virtual safety car, but CC Brain was so really spinning to the right, and at the last second he spun back to the left. Sadly, he's taken Ascom with him, who had been moving really quickly up the field. He was up into the points. It was really good recovery from him from the back. But sadly, he is now having to pit with damage. Here is a few pitters, Balner and Suku. So these intermediate tires last less time than we thought.
Yeah, I thought it would have lasted the same time as the mediums, but it hasn't.
Yeah, so
Handler's struggling, but he's on 6 laps. So here comes Toxic and Fabi side by side into turn 3. Toxic covers off quite nicely once again, going up the hill. Braking zone's pretty good for him. Toxic doing very well actually in 4th place. Austria's definitely one of his strong tracks. I did say at the beginning of the stream that he was going to do well here. And he's absolutely shining for now. But he's stayed ahead. So well done to him.
Got to look at the leader then, haven't we? What was it, rear left that went?
Lars, let's look at Lars.
Yeah, so we've got to see Lars' tire then. Let's see how long they last, because it could be KJ's maybe just pushed them too hard, because as you say, they should be going 21 laps.
Yes.
No one else's tires were blowing up. Obviously, Ass comes out on dries. That's not the right tire at the minute, but perhaps it'll dry up soon. The raid is a bit lighter, but I think that might just be a mistake from Ascom. Unfortunate to get caught up in the puncture, but there was nothing he could do to avoid. By the time he arrived, as Amakina gets a penalty, he's made some really good progress since that restart, as is Yonpar to get the field.
Yes.
But yeah, it was just unfortunate Ascom to get caught up in the puncture and
oh no.
CC Brain too.
Oh no, Ascom, what have you done? He's on the softs.
Well, let's say I'll be into the pits to remedy that. Although saying that, look how quickly the track is drying up. It does feel like the rain's about to stop at the moment. Maybe he'll just stick with it. He is going to stick with it.
Oh god, he's gonna.
So well, he's got no real choice, does he? He's got no choice at this point.
The track is drying. The track is drying.
He's not losing a massive amount of time. And Lars, look at that rear end. And we might as well just watch from his rear bite and see what Gil and Petrus are going to do about it. But yeah, I think it does appear that we're going to get a dry track, which is good news, because it means we'll get some nice DRS racing. We'll get some dry tyre racing. And look at Gil then, closing up for the race lead. He's going to potentially stop Lars getting into the pits here, but no, he will get that pit lane entry. Look up for Petrus though. No contact made, and Lars is able to get into the pit lane. I imagine he's probably going to find himself with no choice either. What's he going to do? Soft or stick out for more inters? Because it could well have been a mistake from Ascom, but he hasn't remedied that mistake yet. So he must think it's going to get dry soon.
I think he selected
they are
softs.
mediums for Lars. So he's happy enough to take the risk and go for dries as well. As he recovers back onto the track, he would have lost so much time, obviously. But still, the first one to make the move on to dries. If it works out for him, he'll be able to come back out in the lead, obviously. And the rain has stopped. Track is now drying. So we'll look out for the DRS enabled sign. Petrus, by the way, on the back of Gil. Not able to get through, but it could become quite important that these two don't fight too hard. Just to make sure that if Lars' tires, light up and get into temperature quickly.
There we go.
Well, they don't get undercut by him. But it does look Like, actually, Lars has done quite the strategic masterclass. Although, look at his line into turn 4. It might be a dry track, but he's still struggling. I'd be surprised, actually, with that line if he can actually beat the front two out of the pits. But surely, we'll find out in a moment. Look at the cars streaming in. And we're going to see Racing Point versus Red Bull in terms of the strategy call. In terms of the pit crews, let's see who beats each other out, because there'll be a few cars in the pits that might halt
McLaren.
some people exiting their pit garages. Gil does get held. Gil has been held. Where's Petrus? Just behind him. And where is Lars? You can see him coming out the final corner, crossing the line to start lap 21. But is he going to beat those two out of the pits? He is indeed. Lars has made the strategy work. But crucially, Petrus out there has put the softs on.
So
and
is
Gil
Toxic.
is on mediums. Toxic Tomato Hadler as well on sauce. This is going to get interesting.
Well, to be honest, it's lap 21.
Look at
Lars,
Petrus, look at him.
he's flying. He's absolutely flying. Softs can make it to the end from here. Softs can make it to the end. So why has Lars and Gil gone for the mediums? Maybe they wanted to play it safe a little bit. I know Lars had to pit a few laps early, so that's probably why. Oh,
look at Toxic Tomato. He's going to get involved. Oh, look at Gil as well, losing the rear end. Sorry to interrupt, but that was so nearly a 3-car accident there. But luckily, Gil's collected it back up at Toxic Tomato. Yeah, he's got through.
Wow, so definitely a mixture of strategies. But yeah, Softs can make it. But with Lars pitting earlier, he had to go on the mediums anyway. There was no other choice. Whereas the other drivers, I'm still not sure why they did what they did. I'm sure Young Power's going to go for the softs too, right? Yes, he does. It's a no-brainer, really, to be honest. We know he can make it. So Lars leads a race. Pretty much he's been leading for the most of it, actually, when Young Power spun. So, yeah, he's doing a great job. Where does Young Power end up on all of this? We'll see. He comes out just behind Fabi and just in front of Igoro. Petrus goes for the lead. Side by side, he goes into turn 3. He's going to get a very good exit as well. Look at Toxic. Toxic going side by side and heading past turn 3 now. Heading towards turn 4. Lars struggling with those medium tyres. I think the soft runner's delta is definitely improving at the moment. So Petrus is leading. Toxic in second. Lars in third. Hadler in fourth. I'm sure Hadler is going to get past Lars very, very soon as well. But early on, yes, there was someone that was commenting. It looked like people going side by side, they're banging each other. It looked like Lewis and Albon racing. Kinda, apart from they didn't collide. They still kept it on the road, so that was the only difference. But yes, we could see Petrus actually winning a race this season. He almost won a race last season. Well, he did, but he got a penalty for pit lane infringement and blocking the champion in qualifying. So this could be an actual legitimate race win. He's in the fastest lap so far. He is flying.
Adler gets through as well on Lars. Lars he's given up. He's gone straight off the track, and that might invite Gil in as well. And Lars, what a shame. Oh, he's cut right across Gil. That might have broken the racing front driver's front main. Luckily it hasn't. But Lars maybe starting to lose his head a little bit. He's just going to keep it on the road, because eventually the advantage should swing back to him as the softs start to lose their pace. But he's just got to keep it on the road and keep his head as these softeners come through. It should come back to them later on. Here's Young Par as Eltink retires. He's in the pit lane. Oh, and Lars has put Young Par off the track. A virtual safety car out, and luckily these guys don't run into each other. They've all slammed on the brakes. Young Par then, gotta be said, he's sitting 6th right now, and considering where he was earlier, he seems to have some really good pace. What a race he could still end up having as he heads back up. But yeah, VSC out. I'm wondering if Eltink has even actually binned it into the pit wall, which is why we're having that VSC, because normally when you pit and retire, it doesn't put anything out.
I think he binned it. I think he binned it, because otherwise his AI car would have gone through turn 1.
Here we go. Sorry to interrupt, but we're going back green again so quickly. And Young Par was able to take advantage of it. He's back up into the top 5 again. And now he's going to be all over Lars. Like I say, Lars, a bit upset maybe, as down the inside goes Toxic Tomato for the race lead into turn 3 and tries to make it stick on the exit. He will get the DRS. He's obviously got plenty of DRS to use as well, more than Petrus, the race leader. And here comes the McLaren down the inside. McLaren led this race at the start. McLaren trying to lead it on lap 24, and there's contact as they head through. Lots of wheel bang as they head up the hill. Toxic Tomato has the advantage at the moment, but surely with the inside line, Petrus should be able to force his rival wide. They hit it again. And there's a lot of wheel bind on the exit too, as Toxic Tomato just tries to drag his rival with him to get the grip as well. On the exit of turn 8, what a fantastic race they're having, as Petrus does hold on. Great racing.
I have to say, we could have a battle for the win between these two. So these two keep it up as well. Toxic has had a really bad season last season with some unfortunate luck he's had. Maybe this could be the turning of the side for Toxic Tomato. I don't think he's won with no line before in PSGL, so this could be a first for him, whereas Handler could be on for a podium too. And I was just pointing out, I was looking at penalties as well. Caden Forbes actually got a drive-through penalty in the safety car. Young Power's going for the move then, past Handler.
Young Power might be the fastest guy out there at the minute. Toxic Tomato goes back through. So these McLarens, both of them are flying at the minute. And do not rule Young Power as Toxic Tomato is super quick, but so is his teammate, who's closing real fast on these top two. They've got to stop fighting. Luckily, Toxic Tomato, it does look like he's quicker. He might well be able to pull away now from Petrus. But surely a McLaren 1-2 could be on the card still. And I don't think anyone would have predicted that after qualifying and after the spin earlier on the race. Young Power and Toxic, what a drive so far. I
think we will get a new constructors leader, I think, by the end of this race, because I think it was. I'll need to actually check who was leading the constructors after Singapore, but yeah, it looked like McLaren had a really horrible race last week because they had Igoro in the McLaren, didn't score any points. Young Power, DNF, didn't score any points. Whereas now, P1 and P3, the best out of all the constructors at the moment. Red Bull has got P2. We've got Suka in 14th, so they've only got one driver in the top two. I'm seeing if anyone else is close to getting a move. Maybe World Rally on Gill. I think we're starting to see the DRS trains start to emerge now, so we may not see plenty of overtakes, or they may have it saved for the final lap. But I know Fabi's going to go for a move on Lars due to the tyre difference, which is around about, if I have a look, I'll have a look at the delta in a second as well. Oh, Fabi almost caught to the back of Lars there. That was close, boys, but luckily no damage there. Banner gets past Ascom, I believe, up to 12th place. Ascom's actually got damage or spun somewhere. Oh, did they make contact? I'm not entirely sure, but he's had a horrible race. Lamakina, I believe, has been lapped by pretty much everybody, so yeah.
Petrus. Penalty for Petrus. And tell you what, he's finding himself in a lot of trouble right now because Young Par, fastest lap of the race, he is flying along. He is going around 0.6 of a second quicker than Petrus at the minute. And further, he's 0.4 quicker than his teammate. He is closing up on this as quickly as he possibly can. And he's dragging people with him as well. This is going to be quite close to the end. And Lars is just holding on to the DRS. Like I say, there's potential that those medium tyres could come back into being the best tyre at the end of the race as the soft tyres start to slow down. As Ascom in the pits retires and leaves the session. He's had enough for today. Petrus, though, with that penalty, well, he's now not even going to be second place. He's now just fallen out of that zone. So he's going to have quite the interesting task. Now, what does he do? Because there's so many people that Young Power is dragging with him. He might not end up on the podium today. So does he go for the race lead again? He doesn't look to have enough ERS to do that. In fact, Young Power's got more ERS than those front two and is flying half a second quicker than him on this lap.
Jeez.
Where is this pace come from? It's incredible so far. He's driving an incredible race. Toxic Tomato crosses the line. Fastest lap, but I think Young Power's going to be the one that flies. He is indeed 0.6 quicker. Wow.
Ooh. Young Power, take a bow. Take a bow for Young Power. I didn't think he was going to win, be in contention of winning this race after the spin there. And all it took was a safety car to happen, the rain to dry out, and his strategy was perfect as Caden picks himself for another 3-second time penalty. But we could see the first person to actually get 2 wins this season. That could be Young Power. But I wonder if it's going to be too little too late, so we don't have that long to go of the race. At the moment, it looks advantage Toxic as Fabi gets past Lars, heading in. Oh, a bit of a touch again. It seems like they're keeping on the road, which is great to see there. Luckily, Fabi didn't turn in too much, because otherwise he would have ended up spinning in turn 5. So Lars gets past up to 5th place. I wonder, Petrox has caught 2 attempts on Toxic that lap. Anything can happen with these guys. And I think it's going to be a McLaren 1-2 so far. I'm just looking at the gaps to leader, actually, to see if Petrox can actually get this race second place. No, I think you'll need to have a miracle in order to do that. But he's got to. I believe he's got to find 6
He's going to pass. He's going to go for it down the inside of Toxic Tomato. That's going to lose him time. But can he get it done? Yes, he can. He can get the move done. What about the exit? Will Toxic Tomato fight back? Because he knows it will cost Petrus so much time. But they've got to be careful. Like I said, they don't let Young Power catch up. And Toxic Tomato does back it off. So Petrus back into the lead of the race. Can he make the 3-second gap? I very much doubt so. And like I say, if they fight too much, we know, we've said it all day, Young Power is so close. Oh, and Toxic Tomato's got a penalty. So Young Power's into the lead of this thing right now.
Wow! Toxic. He did exactly the same thing in season 26. That costed him the race victory. What have you done, my friend? I'm not happy with that whatsoever, but it's just these track limits. It caught you out so much. So Toxic Tomato will only probably get a P3 at best. Not even a P3. He may even get P4. Haller's got no penalties. Haller may be back on the podium. So Haller could be winning this race. He's not that far behind Young Power either.
Yeah, but
we've got Toxic and Petrux side by side. Toxic's got to go for the move, really. It's for position. And our race winner from last week, unfortunately, has retired from the race. But let's forget about that. Toxic goes for the move once again. He had to, really. Beautiful move from him. But I know Petrus is not going to defend that one. Nope, he is not. And all this is doing with those two keeping on fighting is allowing Young Power, Haller, Fabi to catch up. I think it could be the battle for the soft runners. But if the soft runners tires start to die, Lars could win this race. We just don't know what's going to happen. Yellow flag in sector 1. That's Glam McKeena's AI going past turn 1, so ignore about that. But we literally just do not know what's going to happen. But there was quite a few people in the chat that cursed Toxic Tomato, but I don't think we'll take the blame for that. We blame the chat, so chat is your fault.
Stupid chat. No, I've got to say, we're just going to point this out, I think, now, because 3 of top 5 have got penalties. And like I say, I'm expecting at some point there to be some sort of crossover where these medians in the last couple of laps become the better tire to be on. And I don't know what warnings Young Power and Hadler are on, but there's still potential that Lars could win this race. Young Power has got 2 warnings, so 1 more, obviously, he gets a penalty. Hadler, 2 warnings, obviously 1 more, he gets a penalty. And if they both get penalties, there's a potential, like I say, that Lars, who's currently 4.7 off the race leader, but could well close, especially if they fight more, there's still a potential he could win this race. So that's what I was saying earlier, they've got to keep their heads, because this could still turn back in their favour.
I just need to check to see if nobody's got seconds added to their race time this week, which they don't. So, no, the results that we're going to see on screen later on is going to be the actual results, unless any steward inquiries happen. And did I see someone else get another penalty? I'm just going to check. No, it was just my brain deceiving me a little bit. But, yeah, Young Power 2 seconds behind this, behind Petrux, actually. So I'm just trying to see, at the moment, Toxic's got to find 6 steps in order to win this race. But that's probably not going to happen with Petrux absolutely chasing him down right now. Anything can happen. And it's not even starting to brightening up at this stage. It's just overcast the whole time. So luckily they're not going to get blinded at all. But literally anyone can still be on the fight with this. Royal Valley unfortunately has a penalty as well. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people with penalties. And Caden Forbes had 6 seconds. Everyone else is on 3. The rest of the drivers yet to score any penalties, but they got a few warnings as well. And let's just hope they don't have any pit lane infringements. But looks like they've all followed it so far, which is good news. And Young Power's flying right now. He's caught up. He's almost caught up like half a second in that lap, and he's almost within DRS range of Petrux. So that's insane.
Oh, no. Watching Petrus, he's been saving that ERS up, and he wants to maybe challenge Toxic Tomato again. All this time, Lars is still closing the gap. Young Power and Hadler still closing the gap, and this is going to help him out because here comes Petrus once again for the race lead, on track only, as they head through the hairpin at turn 3. Petrus makes contact with the rear end of Toxic Tomato's McLaren and still has plenty of ERS to fight. and none of them got the DRS down towards turn 4, so they're just going to hold position. But Jumpar will be into that DRS zone potentially on the next lap, and that Lars, side by side with Fabi, can't quite get that move done. Reminder, 3 of the top 5 have penalties, and the other 2 are 1 warning away from that penalty. So if that happens, then these guys are mediums could still play a factor at the end of this race. And like I say, it really is. It's still unpredictable. I still don't know what happens, because if Hadler has even a slight hint of a chance, I have a feeling he might go for it, you know, because he's got a good gap behind to Fabi. A little mistake going for a move might not cost him massively, so he might feel inclined to go for something as well. All the top 4 are now within DRS of each other, and this is probably going to become quite the dogfight at the end of this race. 3 to go in Austria, and here comes Petrus once again.
Yeah, it's like a ding-dong battle between these two, isn't it? And meanwhile, Lars gets past Fabi, so I think it may be the crossover point between the softs and the mediums is happening, or maybe Fabi's struggling on those tyres. So I'm just trying to see how long does the softs last around here. I'm just going to have a look. 16 laps, but optimum pace, I would say, is around 12, 13 laps. So yeah, these softs are starting to struggle, so Lars has got to catch within 2 seconds. I think the memes are the faster tyre right now. We'll see once they get the fastest lap potentially as well. Young Powers co-ops that train mile on mile. I don't think he needs to fight this. Actually, he does, because he's got Hadler right behind him. It's going to be a hard situation for Young Power to be in, because if he didn't have Hadler right behind him, he probably wouldn't have gone for the move. But, you know, the more that they're on the train, the more the guys behind would have just gone for the move anyway. Lars has almost caught up to Hadler. Oh, my goodness. 5 cars back for the battle for the win on track. Gil casting Fabi. Yeah, the softs are not the best tyre to be on right now. The mediums are the best tyre by the looks of things.
Yeah, gotta say that now means Lars sits on the podium as Petrus now goes back past Toxic Tomato, and Toxic Tomato's really late on the brakes. They're going to make contact again, and they're nearly off the track. Petrus with a huge slide. Here comes Jumpar. How risky is he going to be? He's onto the grass. He's going to get a good slipstream from his teammate though, and it should put him up ahead. And he's going to go right down the inside of his own teammate as well. And that might cost him the position. Where's Hadler going to be? He's not quite close enough, but man, that's risky stuff from Jumpar. And Petrus dives down the inside in his Red Bull. Surely Petrus is going to hit him. He has hit him. And where's Hadler? He's just on this at the minute. Remember, any mistake from Jumpar could give him a penalty, and that would cost him the race win. He's just got to keep this on the road. But Hadler, luckily for Jumpar, Hadler's not got that much ERS. So it would only, you know, he wouldn't have a massive opportunity to just go for a clean overtake. It depends possibly on what these front 2 do. And we're on the final lap. Actually, to be fair, none of them have much ERS to use. So let's see what happens on the run up to turn.
Toxic!
He's got another penalty, so that's going to really... He was already going to be off the podium. He might end up finishing about 7th place. But here comes Petrus once again, going right round his outside into turn 3. Jumpar follows him round the outside as well. There's a big contact. Now Jumpar can get through. He's going to lead this race on track, in fact. And that is surely going to give him the win as well, because Hadler's got 2 cars to try and get by, and they're still fighting so hard. Hadler's just got no way through. Lars wants to get round the outside of Hadler for 2nd place. That's going to be a fantastic move if he can make it stick. Can he get through Petrus as well? He doesn't need to make that move, but with Hadler so close, he might feel inclined to. There's nearly contact there too. Just about holds it. So that's Lars up to a net 2nd place. Good driving from him to get that move done so cleanly. But we've got to go back to the man who was down in last place, P19 on lap 10 after his crash earlier in the race. He's made a fantastic comeback through the field, and he's not just going to win this race, he's going to win it emphatically. By far the fastest guy there today. What a performance from Jumpar to win in Austria. Lars comes home in 2nd place. Gil is 3rd. He just got by Hadler in the final corner. And Petrus will end up P5 with World Rally picking up his first points in 6th. Fabi, Toxic Tomato, ignore the reserve in P9. And Luca P10. What a race!
It got just like Antoine did. Igor got his first points as full-time driver. So all it takes is to be a full-time driver, and you get you get a reserve first week, 2nd week, full-time, and you get points. So it looks like I'm just looking at I'll look at the spreadsheet, but it looks like most people have actually got points now. So Toxic got points, Roll Valley's got points, Petrux, Igor as well, full-time. Obviously Cedric's not in the league anymore. Yeah, so every driver has got points on the board this season, and I believe the top 3 that finished this race are how it started, I believe, because I think Lars started 2nd. I'll need to check that. Drive of the day in the game goes to Roll Rally. I have to give it to Young Power though, because I didn't think he would be so inclined to get that win. He had bad luck thrown at him. I didn't even think he was going to get that win. But he was like, no, thank you, never give up. And he's the first driver to win 2 races this season. Earlier, to be honest, I think he's going to be championship contender right there. So, yeah, top 3, where they started at the start of the race. So we got Young Power, Lars, Gil, actually top 4, top 5 actually, where they started in this race. Shows who are the faster drivers today. So we got Young Power, Lars, Gil, Hadler, Petrus, Roll Rally, Fabi, Toxic, Igora, and then Luca in 10th. Then we got Antoine, Suku, Ballina, Caden Forbes, and CC Brainy, your finishers. And your retirements are Lamrakrina, Ascom, KJ, and Fenny. I did not think the top 5 in qualifying would have been the top 5 to finish this race without a shadow of a doubt. And they came out trumps, I think. So, Young Power driver of the day for me. What do you think?
I have to agree. I mean, he performed so well just to keep his head and come back through the field, and he made it entertaining as well. Honestly, I love watching every second of his drive back. It was a fantastic performance. And please, like I say, do not look at that top 5 and think, oh, that was a procession. That is anything but. What a race. I can't believe how good this season is already. F2, so much better than that boring F1 stuff. Honestly, they just sit in the DRS train all race. They don't bother doing anything. Oh dear.
You missed a lot last season then. It was lots of battles last season and in the season before that. So I'm glad you're still in F2, to be fair. Anyway, let's get these interview people in, shall we? If they can come, that is. Lars wants to go in. An actual podium this time. Last week he didn't get a podium due to his 10-second penalty. This time he did. So I think he's going to be absolutely delighted about that, especially that he was in F3 last season. I didn't think he was going to get a podium this soon, so just shows how close everyone is. So we'll try and get Lars in. So Lars, what a performance towards the end of that race there. You pulled off some great moves up there to get second after penalties there. You actually got a podium this time. Tell us, how does it feel to actually get a podium on merit?
Yeah, I'm really happy after all what happened. So I'm really happy with the performance. But yeah, I destroyed my race with staying out at the pits with the safety car.
So did you think if you did pit like everybody else, did you think you would have challenged for the win today?
Yeah, and then it was a lot easier to get P1.
Oh, but you're still happy, still P2, some decent points as well on the board. I believe you've been scoring. I'm just trying to think of how many points you see. You got, I believe, I'm just trying to see how many points. So you got 11th in Bahrain Short, 6th in Singapore, so 2 points finishes in a row. Is this a sign for things to come for you? Because it looked like that you were on the wrong tyres to begin with when you were on the mediums, but towards the end, the mediums just came alight. Just tell me, what was the decision on the dry tyres you were going to go on? Was it due to the fact that the mediums were going to be the best tyre at the end of it?
Yeah, I thought I couldn't make it to the end with the soft tyre, so I was going to the mediums. But yeah, the medium was at the end the wrong decision. But yeah, after all what happened, I'm really happy with the recovery to P2.
Yeah, I think you were battling with the likes of Hadler as well, Young Power as well, and lots of all the other medium runners and soft runners too. I think next week, I'm trying to think where we are next week, Belgium next week. Is that a track that's favourite of yours, or do you need to work hard for it? I believe it's the 3rd season in a row we've had Belgium, so it's something that the directors like anyway, and we like as commentators. Do you like it as a racer?
Yeah, I like it as a racer. It's a historical track, so yeah, always nice.
Yes, indeed. And who is your... would you say that you'll still be in contention for the championship after tonight's race? Because you got another podium in the game at least. So do you think you get another one next week?
I hope so. I hope I can challenge Young Power next week.
Brilliant. Any questions, Owen, before we wrap up?
I just got to ask about that last lap move on Hadler. That was such a good race. And what was it like to drive?
Yeah, I had a bit of better tires at the end. The mediums are a bit faster, so yeah, I could make it around the outside.
But it was certainly very entertaining. So well done on the podium, and hope for more next week.
Yeah, thanks for commentating.
You're welcome, Lars, and hopefully we'll see you back in the box next week, fingers crossed, with your podium, yes? So I believe no one wants to come in unless we can get... I don't think Young Power wants to be interviewed anyway, so I can't remember who finished third. Was that Petrus? I think it was Petrus, actually.
Gil finished third.
Oh, it was Gil.
in the end.
It was Gil. Yeah, it was Gil.
I just want to see his gap, because I think Gil, he only got that by 14 1,000ths of a second. He must have got that position right on the line. So, yeah.
I think
really?
that's penalties for you. We got no penalties at the start of the race due to the rain, and then suddenly penalty central. So
Gillen Hadler, that looks like it was a genuine overtake on the line. There was no penalties involved in that one. That must have been incredible. That one. So we missed that one live. Sorry, but yeah, that's how he did that. Well, we didn't miss it live. You can watch it, but we just didn't commentate on it.
Yeah, there we go. That's the thing as well. I'm excited for next week's race now because Belgium is always a banger in PSGL. When there's stuff involved, hopefully there won't be any DRS trains again because without the threat of drive for the whole race, it was absolutely fantastic. 3 crazy ends of the race in a row. Can we get a 4th? We'll find out. Can Young Power get another win next week? It's looking like he's going to be favoured for the championship, but all those questions will be asked next week when we head to Belgium. Make sure you check out the remaining PSGL streams we have tonight, which is F1 and I need to check F5 and F6. There we go. I got it wrong last week. I said F7 as well, but F7's on at 7, not 8. So it's F1, F5 and F6. Check those stream outs right now as they have their Austria race. But I'm sure you want to watch the F2 race back because it was absolutely marvellous. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for Owen once again for joining me in the commentary box.
Absolute pleasure, Jess.
And we'll see you next week. Have a good evening, everybody. And we'll let you enjoy the rest of the streams. Have a good evening. Bye.